Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, and things adjacent. It seems that I or we, as a particular group of thinkers, tend to focus on the bad news. And I think there's a purpose behind that. The purpose is to move people in the direction of taking action or waking up to the realization that we're not in a good place, and that we need major reconfiguration of our society and how we think and how we live in order to make it through the bottleneck that we are facing in the near future. I'm going to kind of talk about videos for a little while, or people that do videos. So I've been watching a lot of Joe Rogan lately. I don't just randomly. I like Joe Rogan, and I've always been aware of his podcast, but I find myself watching a lot of some of the things. He has interesting people on, very, very wide spectrum of people and ideas. And I like that. He's kind of just about the getting the take from a lot of different viewpoints. And I appreciate that. But one of the things that I've noticed that he says quite frequently lately is that, the human race is better than it's ever been, and things are greater than they've ever been. A few of the guests he's had on have been saying, like, why are we kind of, talking about maybe the radical thinkers or the radical left or radical spectrum of thought, in that things are really terrible and everything's bad, and we're going down the garbage chute. To which Joe and or his guests kind of agree that things are better than ever. The human race is happier, more productive. Everybody has everything. We're in a better place than we've ever been, and that's that is very true on a lot of levels. Like, the human race is in a good place for the moment. We have creature comforts like we've never seen or before. We have the ability to go anywhere we want to go. We have the ability to gather all this information and be constantly fed new ideas. The fields of medicine and psychology and sociology, and they're advancing at technology. They're advancing at rapid breakneck paces. The question is, whether you come down on the side of all of this is a bad thing or all of this is a good thing. I think, it's a mixed bag. It's somewhere in the middle. It's, it's mostly both. Obviously, we're making advances that are going to help bring about better things for human beings. But if we're not aware of the fact that we're decimating the environment and decimating species, and setting ourselves up for a major temperature and ecological swing that's not going to make it possible for us to grow food anymore. If you can't put that into the equation, then your equation is false. Your assumption that everything is better than it's ever been, and we're in a great place, that's a false assumption. And I don't necessarily want to just bring people bad news every day. I don't necessarily want to think about bad news every day. It's, it's depressing. I prefer to think about, happy things and good times and hanging out with people and, falling in love and playing music and, having at least, something of a future where things, can get better and we can enjoy ourselves. That's what I truly want. For humanity and for myself and for all the living beings on the planet. So that's the reason why this channel exists, is, to let people know, to hasten the understanding that we have to consider the terrible things that we are doing to the planet, the terrible swings in our climate that are going to be taking place. And we're just, I think a lot of people also think that mitigation is totally fine, or, saving the planet or fighting climate change is totally fine as long as we can continue doing the things that we're doing now. It's just not possible, and it's just not feasible. And that's the thing, is so everything is greater than it's ever been for humanity. And we want that to continue going. And guess what? That can't continue going because of the fallout, because of the externalities involved in doing all the things that we're doing. The externalities are going to foul our nest. And that is absolutely 100%, you cannot dispute, doubt, or debate that. That's actually happening. And then we're, as a society, as a whole, as a culture, we are really, really right now good at ignoring that or not taking that into account. And people really, really don't want to see the writing on the wall for what it is. I'm not trying to down anybody's day or make anybody depressed. I'm just, I'm wishing and hoping that people would acknowledge the truth of what's happening so that we can actually make a shift, for real, a real shift in our thinking and our behaviors so that we can get to a better place. And that's all I want to say for this little opening rant. The videos I wanted to talk about. So just for levity's sake, Robin Data sent me a video about hipsters in Portland. I'm going to link that in the description box. It's pretty funny, but there's a part in there where they're standing at a construction site, two people, with coffees in hand, chanting, "Construction is destruction." Pretty hilarious. There's also interesting ironies in there about being concerned about the state of the planet. At one point they're sitting on a bench talking about anti-corporate, the anti-corporate viewpoint and being against capitalism as it is, and then the guy goes, "Is that the new iPhone?" And yes, it is. Pretty hilarious stuff. So I'm going to link that below. Hopefully you can watch it. I'm also going to link something. I don't know if you guys know who Kyle Kalinske is from Secular Talk. I've been watching some more of his videos, and I find him to be a pretty credible and interesting voice. And he talks about the fact that tensions between the U.S. and Russia are escalating, and not in a good way. And it's because of the fact that there's a conflict over Venezuela, what's happening in Venezuela. We're trying to ramp up a regime change. And Russia is like, no, no, no. They are an ally of ours, and we don't want that to happen. Russia has been sending advisors and some troops. So good. It's an interesting video. I'm going to link it below. I like what Kyle Kalinske has to say. And it's just more evidence that, the Russiagate thing is nonsense and bullshit. Please, please, please understand that, Trump is a corrupt dude and represents, the worst of corruption in America. But that doesn't mean that if you're against anybody that is against Trump is not corrupt, or that corruption isn't on all sides of the aisle, that corruption doesn't take place within the Democratic Party, or, just the Republicans are, the standard bearers of corruption. They're just straight up out there, about corruption. Of course, we need to end corruption, and we need to get liars and thieves out of office, definitely. But if we're going to put more liars and thieves in office, as an answer, that's not an answer. I'm sorry. So, understand that there's corruption, and there's lying, and there's gaslighting happening, not just from the Trump administration, but also from the mainstream media. And there's objectives, nefarious objectives involved on both sides. So, Russiagate is dangerous. It's damaging, and it is a way to stifle free speech and alternative journalism and any progressive voices that want to come into the Democratic Party and probably change the Democratic Party for, into a progressive, more of a progressive institution. It's also ramping up tensions between Russia and America. It's just a bad thing all around. So please reconsider if you are a supporter of Russiagate or the theory that somehow Donald Trump is controlled by Russia. You're actually supporting not good things. And just, think about it, do some research. Kyle Kulinski has some good thoughts on this. I urge you to watch this video. I'm going to talk about another video, interesting, from Chris Hedges on Contact. He interviews Adam Frank. So just to interject very quickly, I'm going to start doing some screencast stuff, but to make my videos possibly more interesting than me sitting in a microphone. The thing is, though, is that when you start screencasting or putting other images, or using other videos from other places, you open yourself up to more copyright infringement, and you open yourself up to more strikes or demonetization on your videos. So, though this might be a little bit on the boring side, just watching me talk to a microphone, it actually keeps my videos somewhat safe from getting negative feedback from YouTube. So I'm going to be doing some more screencast stuff, but I've got to figure out a way to do it so that I don't run into problems. It probably might be very limited. I don't know. Or we'll just see how it goes and see what the fallout is. I don't know. Anyway, so getting back to this video from Chris Hedges, Adam Frank is an astrophysicist, and he talks about basically talks about the idea that our planet, like many other possible planets in the universe, is just reaching the point of civilization destroying itself, fouling its nest, and reaching that bottleneck and not being able to go past a certain point in their technology or in their advancement. And he just talks about how this is just an experiment that the Earth is running right now. Humans on the Earth. This is just what's happening geologically at the moment. But it's an interesting conversation, and he just talks about how the idea is that civilizations may or may have existed in the universe over the millennia. And they probably all run into the same problem as if you have an industrial civilization that's built on using a lot of energy, that energy is going to feed back on the planet and destroy the planet, or destroy the ecology of the planet. And so the idea that there's aliens out there, or there are people from other planets out there, gets minimized. There's a filter. He's talking about the Great Filter or whatever. The likelihood that people have made it off of their planet to go explore the universe, very unlikely, because most civilizations would have hit this bottleneck of energy feedback destroying their planet. It's a good conversation. I'm going to link it, and I'm going to cover just a few non-good news items from The Guardian. This is from April 7th. Buildings are killing up to 1 billion birds a year. 1 billion birds a year. So industrial civilization, with all that cement that we're going to make, that's going to suck the CO2 out of the air, we can just build more buildings that will, destroy the environment. That's, problem with possible techno fixes to the environmental. Oops, almost lost my desk there. Possible techno fixes to the environmental problem is that the feedbacks from the fixes may be just as damaging as the things that we're doing right now. Scientists estimate that at least 100 million and maybe as many as a billion birds die each year in the U.S. when they collide with buildings, especially glass-covered or illuminated skyscrapers. And in a new report, conservationists now have a better idea which American cities are deadliest for those on the wing. So, usual suspects: New York, L.A., Chicago, Houston, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, I'm going to link this below. I'm just, giving you the headline, basically. Birds are migrating. They get to cities. They get lost. They run into buildings. They are not. This is also something that happens with solar power farms or solar plants. Can be very disorienting for birds. One of the main, and also wind power as well, also not good for birds. Moving to the last thing. Well, I'm going to finish up this video with a couple of comments. This is from Gazar. Seems we can't win. Burn fossil fuels doomed. Wind turbines doomed. Solar panels doomed. Nuclear power plant energy doomed. Why don't we just give up electricity, cars, trucks, and all other fuel burning crap and just go back to nature to escape this shite? Why not? Why not go back to nature, or mostly nature? News article from Imogen. In a comment, the plastic sea salt around the world is contaminated by plastic. New studies find microplastics in salt from the US, Europe, and China, adding to the evidence that plastic pollution is pervasive in the environment. We are living on a plastic planet. See if I can find this article. It looks like it's from The Guardian, and I'll link that below. We are indeed living on a plastic planet. And I had one more comment I wanted to read from you. Oh, that's not it. Where did it go? This is from Funky Mystic. When it comes to limiting children, there are a few things to consider. First, we are going to need some humans to carry the lineage forward. We want the human species to survive. I don't envy children of today and coming generations because I'm sure it will be a difficult future. Second, it's also good to remember that children in poor countries, rural areas, etc., consume far, far less resources than those in the wealthy Western societies. Limiting birth rates in the global South will not make much of an impact like it would limiting birth rates in the US and Europe. After absorbing a lot of information, like many people watching this channel, generative agriculture and carbon farming are our best chance at survival into future generations. In combination with ending fossil fuel production, relocalization, etc. But I believe if we could scale up regenerative agriculture and carbon farming fast enough, we could potentially mitigate the crisis enough to avoid extinction. I'm turning this over in my head and heart every day and figuring out my role. Thank you for that comment, Funky Mystic. That was actually from a while ago. That was actually a couple weeks ago, but I had that in my inbox that I wanted to read it. And sometimes things get lost, and then I find them, and oh, there it is. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.